Well, hello. I'm here to show you the Big Bird teachers meetings, and you see for teachers meetings, basically talking about that during the meetings that they would have for the teachers, so far as the school boards, and along with upgrades, along with parent and teacher conferences, and along with the talk about improvements, I should say, of the school, and a lot of I remember that I used to watch it. You say the school programs to where whenever they would have say interviews and stuff like that with the students that go to whatever school districts that there are, no matter if it's would you say is public schools or maybe Catholic schools or whatever it is, that more likely that they said that like a lot of times that it's on a half a day, that with the half a day that the students would get out of school early, and then the teachers would have to stick around and go to meetings. And a lot of times is that they say it could be parent-teacher conferences, or it could be other conferences. So far as the kids' parents that they would be attending the conferences, such as meeting the teachers and then knowing what's going on in the schools and stuff like that. But a lot of times is that you think about it, is that they would have these meetings. I guess a lot of times to let all the teachers know about the improvements or whatever activities that are going on in the school. And a lot of times they say that this is like a required type method, to where the kids would get out of school and then the teachers would have to stick around for about maybe an hour or two after school gets out to go to these meetings, and which some teachers would probably say that they don't want to go to them; they're just too boring. But that a lot of people will probably like it. Well, it's that my opinion about it would be is that I don't that they get boring talking about maybe the same old thing, or something that don't apply to me, whatever it is. But which I would probably say I of course I never been to a teachers meeting. I never really sat down with the teacher during the meeting or whatever it is. But basically is that what you say, that with the teachers, that more likely, I guess they would know. I guess during their jobs, it's required for them to attend the meetings. I guess basically talking about improvements with schools, so far as education, about what the school district is teaching the kids, and then along with federal grants or whatever you call it that are going on with the school districts and stuff. But so far as a clear look at it is that it's like what you call an event such as recess time, as recess hours, is that you would have it to where the kids would be able to go out, to the playground, have fun or whatever. But of course, on a half a day, which most of the kids, whenever I remember going to school, as I think that the kids in the half a day during the grade school years, that I remember whenever I was a kid, that you would have lunch and then go to the classroom, bring your lunch with you to the classroom, and then have lunch, and then after that, and then be able to go home afterwards. But if I remember right, I'm not exactly sure how half a days work in the half schools or half a school, whatever. But of course, they would not have, which is cut out. They would leave out the specials during the day, and along with recess hours, and then they would have it to where the kids would go home early. But of course, with the teachers, they won't really have like what you call a recess time, during the time that they're teaching that work. That more likely that a lot of their what you call recess time would be is that during the time they get out of the meeting, and then that they go to their office, and then they do paperwork. And a lot of times is that they got sheets of paperwork where they got files on the computer that they got to deal with. But more like with Big Bird is that, with my opinion about teachers meeting, which that more likely that they probably say that they're not boring, they're not unimportant. They are what you call important. They are just talking about that, basically, that people, a lot of the teachers and staffs or whatever at the school probably just don't want to sit down in front of a table or sit down and listen to somebody talk about something for such and such hours, and then they get handed paperwork or whatever you call it. They get handed paperwork, and with that paperwork, which may require them to know about something changing in the school or whatever it is in the offices. But a lot of times you'd probably say that they would rather maybe go home and take a bath or watch TV or something like that. But other than had to stick around in the school at least until about 1 or 2 o'clock in the evening, something like that, just to attend to a meeting. But of course, what you say is with my favorite subject is so far since I knew a few teacher friends, but more likely they could probably say that working with good kids was what you say was the good part about going to school. Is not really the fact about what you didn't like and what you liked so far as the bad times and along with the meetings or whatever, but about how the job was handled so far as the good kids that you had. Is like with me that which if I remember right, that specials like art and music, say music and gym, those type of specials I guess were pretty good. I think art was my favorite. But otherwise than that, it's like recess time. It's like would you say that like during the 3rd and 4th grade years and stuff that that they were what you call pretty entertaining. But as time went on, I mean that you make new friends and then you lose old friends or whatever you call it. Since I went to 2 different elementary schools, that sometimes it's like it was hard to keep the same friends and the same teachers. But so far as for teachers meetings, that a lot of times they probably say that it's that they could be pretty boring sometimes, but I guess you can also look at it is that there's something to know about what's any changes or whatever it is that so far as if it's a required method so far as going to the meeting. It's like the meeting about system upgrades or whatever it is. But if you get bored that easily, then more likely they could probably say that no, don't pull out your iPod or whatever. But more likely that if you get bored enough, then that more likely you can just write down, read maybe I don't know if I would recommend to any teacher about bringing a magazine into the meeting, but more likely they could probably say that hey, if they're paying you to sit around and listen to somebody listen, or they're paying you to read a paper or whatever you call it, then more likely to say that that's good. Other than that, more likely that another job that they could give you more likely will be mopping the floor. But anyway, taking out the trash, whatever. But anyway, so far with Big Bird, so far with teachers' meetings, along with the playground equipment, along with the swing, along with the Teather, and so far with Big Bird, and along with discussions of the meeting, and so far with Big Bird and Big Bird teachers' meetings coloring.